boyfriend application. We're gonna review that. It's Kenna?
Yes, it's
Kenna?
me.
Let's look at her boyfriend application. All right, make it bigger for me. Make it bigger. Bigger. All right, this is her boyfriend application, looking for a new lover boy. So you want to, where are you from? I was going to fill it out. I put it on the game. So you want the Instagram. How old are you? How tall? Why is it a 2? There's 5'0" to 5'10".
What?
Well,
So
yeah.
is it if they are shorter than 5'10", it's disqualified?
No, it's not disqualified. I'll just look at you last.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of job do you have? Do you like cats? Do you have
Yes, I have cats.
multiple, plural?
Yeah, I have 2 cats.
2 cats. Okay.
2 sons.
What would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? There's that. Okay.
Wait. Hang on. Back up. It says, what is your favorite kind of car?
Yes.
Can you name...
I missed that one.
Okay. Can you name 4 different kinds of cars?
Yeah.
Go.
Okay. Ford Escort, Hyundai Genesis Coupe.
No, you can't use the same one.
No, those are different cars.
Use a different one.
Honda Accord and a Prius.
Are you dating anybody who drives a Honda Accord?
No.
No, of course not. Okay.
All right, back to it. Scroll down. What is your favorite thing to do in your free time? Do you go to the gym? Yes, no, sometimes. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Living on a beach in Florida.
All right.
Same.
Do you invest your money? Tell me a joke. Add pic if you like. Okay, that's great. It wasn't too bad, the boyfriend.
Can you tell us a
application.
joke?
No. No.
That is interesting. Do you guys think it's fair that women demand things from men, like traits that they don't possess themselves?
Can you elaborate on that question?
Well, like for example, right? This tends to come up typically later parts of the show, but if we're talking about like body count, women have like massive objections to, like, for example, a man who has a high body count stating quite emphatically that he prefers women with a low body count or virgins. You guys think, well, that's not fair. Like, here you are with your high body count, you are promiscuous, but you want to take a non-promiscuous woman, you want a virgin. That's hypocrisy. That's a double standard. But I mean, well, first off, why don't we maybe start there? Do you guys think that that's problematic for a high body count man to be
Very
like, I only want to date a virgin?
Why is that problematic?
Because it's like you have a high body count and you're expecting your woman to have a low body count. That's
Well, that's just restating the issue, but what's actually problematic about the issue?
It's
Yeah,
just because like he's been sleeping with multiple people, like multiple women, and then like this girl, let's say she's only slept with 3 women. Not 3 women. 3 like men or whatever. Like, and he's no. Okay, let me give like a better example. Let's just say he had to pick between a girl that had like 30 plus body count and then like a 3 plus body count.
Yeah.
Obviously, his body count is probably like maybe 40, I want to say.
Well, let's say it's 60.
60. Let's
Sure.
say it's 60,
Okay.
right? So, and he decides to choose the girl with the lowest body count.
Yeah.
And his poor excuse is, well, she has the lowest body count. She hasn't been sleeping with a lot of women.
Yeah, what's the
a lot
problem?
of men.
What's the problem?
But the thing about it is like it's kind of signifying that the other woman is a slut and like
No, it's just signifying that he has a preference for women with a lower body count.
Yeah, but like he has a high body count.
So-
So
But he can still have a preference.
it's okay.
I mean,
I'm not saying you can't have a preference or anything, but just like to disregard the other woman just because she has a higher body count, that's kind of like upsetting. Like, what if she had a really good chemistry? What if she had like an amazing personality, and her body count was just like your like no go, your no break.
I
Well,
could say.
let me ask you a question. Would you date a 5'2" man who was bald?
Yes.
Have you?
Yes.
And is your husband a 5'2" man who's
He
bald?
is not bald.
He's not. And is he 5'2"? Hang on, is he 5'2"?
He's 6'2".
Yeah, he's 6'2".
But-
So now,
but-
hang on. Let's back up. Hang on, let's back up. Let's back up just a little bit here, okay? So he's 6'2", has hair, even though you would, of course, date the 5. And how many 5'2" bald men were available to you versus 6'2" men with hair?
So the thing.
Hang on, answer the question first.
Okay,
Answer the question
so
first.
let me answer your question. First, I don't really go out that much to be seeking.
Not the question I'm asking.
Okay.
Far more 5'2" bald men than there are 6'2" men.
I just don't know where they are. So for me,
There actually might be. So I.
There might be some in this
I
chat.
shouldn't help.
Like 6'2" men with hair, right?
yeah, but like if a 5'10" man with no hair comes up to me and he approaches to me and he's a gentleman and he's very, courteous and he like is gentle, I would go for him. But
Well, I mean, now we'll never know because you're with a 6'2" Chad with
and
hair,
that's
right?
And that's because like
That's your preference,
No, because he aligned with me in my life,
And he
we
just
aligned with
happened to
each
be 6'2". How did he have the perfect
I mean, I could
personality
date-
and happen to be 6'2"? That's an amazing. What an amazing
I'm
coincidence!
just saying, I would date like a Van Diesel if I
wait,
had
but
to.
hold on. I mean, to
Vin
Andrew's-
Diesel is like the best
Wait, is it
example of a
5'2"
bald
or
man.
5'10"?
Don't even.
to Andrew's point here, when we talk about this height thing, and a lot of like we've asked this all the time, and it's like the women will say it's virtue signaling. You'll say yes, oh, I would date a short guy. I'll date a guy shorter than me. But then if you do even the most minimal inquisition, well, how tall were all your boyfriends? And all your boyfriends were above the average height of men. So the average height is like 5'9", 5'10", and these women say, oh, my past 3 boyfriends were all like 6 foot and above.
Just on average.
It's just like, it's kind of ridiculous. Like you say you will, but conveniently you've never done it.
I actually have dated somebody who was like my height, 5 foot. I'm 5'5", and he was like 5'5",
Yeah, for
5'6".
how long?
So we only been speaking to each other for like 2 years and talking to each other. But he's a very busy guy, so therefore his.
Did you sleep with him?
Well, yes, of course.
Okay,
I mean,
so hang on. So you slept with this guy. Now, out of this one guy that you slept with,
Yeah.
if we were to average all the men you've ever slept with, do they look a bit more like the husband or a bit more like that guy?
No, because my taste in men is very different.
Okay, so on
I
average,
explore.
you're sleeping
Average
with
is
men who
5
are below 5'9".
Yes.
Really?
Averagely.
Yeah,
Averagely.
fucking right.
Yes,
Show
it
me
is
some
so
more
true.
bullshit.
Oh my god, I will give you proof.
Bullshit.
I will give you proof if you need it. Like I'm being so for real because I'm not like a surface level woman.
All right. Well, hang on. Okay, so let's inquire a little further. Okay. So how many men total? Total.
I have slept with 32 men.
Okay, so 32 men. Now, out of the 32 men, right? Some of these I assume are casual.
Yes.
You're casually hooking up with 5'5" dudes
Yes.
over the 6 foot dudes.
Because height doesn't matter to me. It does not. Like, okay, I'm being for real. Height does not matter to me. As
Okay.
long it's just your age. If you're younger than me, then that's my biggest pet peeve.
But you did conveniently marry someone 6'2".
It was because actually he's not 6'2". He's not 6'2". He's between 6 foot to. Never mind. You know what?
What the hell? What just happened?
I don't know.
What the hell just happened?
Okay, so
It's way too early to have a meltdown in this show. Okay, yeah, that's way too early for that. So back up
You know
for
what,
me.
so- Cheers.
let me drink really quick.
Okay.
So I
I
guess
think you
going
need to
back-
fortify yourself for this.
So no.
Yes.
The average height that I would normally date a guy is between 5'5" to 6'5". Okay, that's like, but
That
that's
is-
the maximum.
that's not
But
an
the
average?
Is 5'10". The average is 5'10".
Okay, that makes sense. So if the average is around 5'10",
Yes.
5'10" is much taller than you.
Yes.
Okay. So the thing is like, why don't you just want guys your own size? Because you have some kind of preference?
Because no, they got.
Because you
they
have
got-
some kind of preference?
No, they have big. What is it? Big man, small man syndrome or something, or
tiny
big man.
dog. Why'd you look at me?
And you
for that
have...
one?
hang on. And you have some kind of preference against that, right?
No, because
Oh,
some.
small dog syndrome. Is that
Yeah,
what you're
like
gonna say?
something small dog
Then you
syndrome.
and you have a preference against that.
I don't have a preference against that.
Then why aren't you dating guys with small dog syndrome?
Because it's just their attitude.
Then you have a preference against that attitude.
Wait, can I
And so
make-
if you have
Okay.
a preference, so if you have a preference against that attitude,
Okay,
you
but what-
prefer
okay.
to not have it,
So-
then all you're saying, you're just making the same argument the guy is, where he's like, look, I just prefer to be with chicks that have a lower body count.
But okay, so when you're talking about preferences, like
Things I like, just things I like. That's it.
okay, but what?
Okay, so do you like pizza?
Yeah. I like
Okay,
pizza.
what are the toppings you hate?
I don't hate any toppings.
Not one.
Not one. I could eat pizza.
Anchovies?
I could eat anchovies. Yeah. I'm
Okay, let's try it a different way. What's your favorite toppings?
My favorite topping would have to be cheese.
Okay. So you prefer
No.
your pizzas to have cheese?
Well, don't all pizzas have cheese?
No.
So you've had
You can have a
pizza?
cheese-free pizza.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
No,
but
I'm gonna
anyway,
try.
but this
Just be
but-
sauce and
but
bread.
This is, I mean, that's what like lactose intolerant people get, right?
Oh.
Or they get fake cheese or something like this. But you have a preference for it, or some type of food. There's some type of food that you like a certain way, like a sandwich. What type of sandwich meat do you hate? Are you gonna love all that too? Is there just nothing you won't eat?
Because I'm an eater. I'm a Taurus.
Okay.
So you gotta understand.
Okay, well,
I like food.
okay, Taurus. What's a food you hate?
What is a mushrooms?
Okay, you hate mushrooms, so you have a preference against
I have a
mushrooms.
preference against
Now,
mushrooms.
mushrooms won't kill you to eat them, right?
No, they won't.
Yeah, I just don't like how they taste.
Not. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that's a preference. It's just an I
Yeah,
like.
but
So
like-
when you're talking about relationships and guys, you're just talking about I likes, I dislike. I
Yeah,
like this,
but,
I like
that's
this, I like
just
this.
so mean to just be like.
What do you mean it's mean?
If a guy were to come up to me and like says, let's just, for example, like I said, if my body count is 32, right?
Yeah.
And there's a girl that has like maybe like what 3 to 5,
Yeah.
and then he chooses the girl that has less than me, and then I ask him, okay, why did you pick that?
It makes you
girl?
feel bad.
It does make
Yeah,
you feel
it
bad.
makes you feel bad.
Well, yeah, it makes me feel bad because it's just like.
But
well,
what is he doing that's wrong other than making you feel bad?
Well, one, my feelings. because
Yeah,
I'm
your
gonna-
feelings.
One, my feelings, but also two, like.
So it's your feelings.
But also too, it's like monkey see, monkey do type thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a high body count as a man and I have a high body count as a woman, like, and we're both having, intercourse with different people, why does my body count is disregarded in your preferences?
Because you don't like it. Just like you don't like mushrooms.
But
I have a
It's
question
just
for
a- it's
Andrew
just a
though. Do you feel like
preference.
there's an actual difference? Like, could you tell someone's body count before they actually tell you? Because I feel like people lie about that
mean,
sort of
maybe
thing all
not.
the time.
Maybe not with a lot of people.
So then, like, I just am curious, like, how that preference works, other than like a societal impact. I
It's
guess.
just a revulsion. So it's like, here's an idea. Have you ever
Kinda like a
eaten?
turn-off.
Have you ever eaten dog shit?
I would not like to.
Yeah, why not?
It's a preference.
Because it's revolting.
Yeah, but I also.
But wait a second. Couldn't somebody put dog shit in a cake and you wouldn't know it?
I mean,
So you could accidentally eat dog shit.
what an
what they did in
interesting
the house.
analogy.
Wait a second. You could accidentally.
you
Hang
would
on. I
taste
just want
it.
an answer. You could accidentally eat dog shit.
Yeah.
You could, and that
Dude,
would
it could
suck.
happen.
Hang on, that would suck, right? So you're saying you could be tricked because you don't know,
Yeah.
but you're still, if you knew
You'd be
that there
like,
was dog shit, you wouldn't eat the cake, would you?
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah, but also like I wanted to say just super quick, and then we can go back. But when you're talking about like men's height versus like women's body count, men don't have control over their height. They're just born that way. They grow, they stop growing, and then but women and men have control over their body count. So it's kind of hard to compare those two.
You have control over, wait,
You have control over it with how many people you sleep
but do you
with.
have control over the things you prefer?
No, but I that's why
Then what-
I
then I don't
checked
understand the
yes and
argument.
no on the box because I feel like is it hypocritical?
But you don't believe that
But
people
is it
have-
wrong? No, you can't force somebody to date
There's not,
somebody.
wait. It's not hypocrisy.
I mean, a little bit.
Not
It
even a little
is.
bit. No. Hypocrisy, people get this wrong all the time. I don't know
What- so
why.
what- so if-
but what hypocrisy is I'm advocating for a thing of which I'm guilty, right? While telling you, right, the person that you cannot
like
do
you
said,
just-
hang on. So if you were to say you having a body count is wrong, even though I have the same body count, right? But that's not wrong. That would be hypocrisy. Me saying, though, I have a high body count and prefer women with a lesser body count is not hypocrisy.
Okay.
Hypocrisy
But do you prefer
would
it
be
because you think it's revolting?
Yeah, so imagine it this way.
But you don't think yourself is revolting.
Yeah, hang on. Imagine it this way. Let's say there's a fat person on a treadmill. They know they're fat. They know they're fat, and so they're trying to lose weight, right? They're on the treadmill, and they look over at somebody else, and they say, hey, you're fat. You should lose weight. They're not a hypocrite. There's no hypocrisy there. The hypocrisy would be if they say, hey, you're fat, right? And I'm not. That would be like hypocrisy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be like condescending then?
It would be both.
That's
But people get hypocrisy wrong all the time. They think that hypocrisy is being guilty of the thing which you're condemning. That's not actually what it is. It's the belief that the thing in which you're condemning is actually fine. There's like a pretense of pretending with hypocrisy.
So technically, a man with a higher body count who prefers a woman with a low body count is a hypocritical man, and he prefers to be.
No, he's
Wait, no,
not
but what's
hypocritical.
interesting
Just
though?
explain.
He's not a hypocrite. There's no hypocrisy.
We're not going to get anywhere with this line of questioning, but I do wonder. I feel
How do you
like
know?
because we've been talking about the same thing for 10 minutes, but I'm not the host, so who am I? However, I
It's been a
am
good
curious.
conversation. You're wrecking
I am
it.
curious.
You're wrecking the whole conversation.
Do you,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go
Forgive
ahead.
me.
Go ahead.
But I am curious because I feel like you don't often see that perspective coming from women, of women with high body counts saying, "I want a man with a lower body count." So I just am curious why you think that is.
Oh, it's actually really simple. So, the idea of paternity is something which men only recently could be assured of.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea that I know that the kid that you have is mine, we can now know, but that's a very new technology. Before that, how could you know if the child was yours?
So then would that only apply to situations where you're trying to like date someone to marry? It wouldn't apply to like a normal hookup? You might
Well,
like
no, that's all new tech. These are all new technologies.
Okay.
So here's the idea. The idea is if you were sleeping with a woman before she's your wife, or even she's not your wife, how could you assure paternity absent a paternity test?
by having, I guess, her only sleep with one person.
Only
but that
one
implies
person.
that you're having a child with every woman you
So
sleep with.
So this would imply that there could be a revulsion mechanism.
Oh, okay.
A revulsion mechanism around the idea that if a woman is promiscuous, that you could not be assured paternity, and so there's an internal revulsion which happens.
Okay, so you're saying it's kind of passed down.
what
You
if
think like
there's, like, a
it's
genetic-
generational.
Well, I think it's biological.
Okay,
It's a biological way to create an assurance for paternity.
interesting.
So I have a question. So basically, like, what do you think about if a girl's like let's say she's like 40 or 50 and like she wants to remarry and a guy cares, or like let's just say she's 35, she's been with 6 people, but she's had 6 boyfriends.
Sure.
She's been in 6 relationships where she wanted to get married. Maybe a guy cheated on her. Maybe they weren't compatible. Like, but she wasn't promiscuous. Then what is that difference than someone who's 3 or 2?
Well, so it's interesting because like these red pillars, these are like online red pillars who everybody hates. They're like, yeah, call everybody whores, and but they actually really don't. They actually try to dive into exactly these ideas. So the idea, let's say you had a woman who had elongated relationships. Maybe she only had 2 or 3, right? And they were long-term relationships. Well, that would signify something completely different than a woman who's promiscuous, even if the body count's a little higher, right? So even if, let's say it's 5 and 50 years. Right, that's one partner per 10 years.
Right.
That's going to be a way different story than, well, not to pick on you, right? But, 50 or 60 partners in a year. That's going to signify a promiscuity issue, right?
And that's also like dangerous to like our bodies. Like I feel like to an extent you should care who you're sleeping with and how many people they're sleeping with. And I think that you can change your mind, and maybe that's okay if men do want to change their mind. Like I think that
And they do.
Yeah.
And the thing is like this happens. It's not like there's not, porn stars out there
I
who
just
don't
mean,
get
like,
Mr.
judging-
Wonderful. They do. Some of them do. But mostly they don't.
Yeah.
And also the idea here is that men do find it repugnant. They do find it repulsive. Where you think that it's a double standard, that could be true. Right? Society does judge promiscuous men differently than promiscuous women, but that's because of women.
Yeah.
Women judge them differently than men do too.
That's so true.
Yeah,
Oh
women
my
judge
God.
each other more than
But
any man
think
ever
about
will.
this. But think about why
Last
that.
podcast, I felt
But think
really
about
judged.
why that would be. Why that would be the case. It's because you're always assured paternity. Like you always know who the baby's dad's going to be. They don't know.
Wait.
So it's not as built in for you to have that revulsion.
I just meant more so like if it's just down to a number, right? Like saying 3 versus like 10. Like if it was you're again 35 and you've been in 10 relationships, where I feel like there should be some kind of like.
But every situation is going to be different. When you ask for like a hard cutoff, I don't even think we need to give one. We just make it easy, right?
Right.
Everything after 1 is worse than 1. Everything after 0 is worse than 0. It's pretty simple, right? So it's like, well, what's the cutoff? Is it 3? Is it 4? Is it 5?
Right.
Who gives a shit? Ultimately, everything after 0 is worse than 0. Everything after 1 is worse than 1. Everything after 2 is worse than 2, right? You only really need to think of it that way. What other way do we even need to think of it?
Don't think of it.
Yeah, but the thing is like men do think of it.
Well, and it also matters because, like, if you're someone who's had, like, relations with a lot of people, like, and I don't know, maybe you're someone who doesn't get tested regularly or something, and you get with some other person, they could contract something. You know, you don't want someone who's been sleeping around with a bunch of people who you don't know where they've been.
See, the only problem I kind of take with this, you're right, don't get me wrong, totally right. It's just that it comes from a female perspective. So you kind of think about things from the perspective of women.
Well, I am a woman, so that would make sense.
Sure. But what I'm saying is, my challenge is to say to you, instead take yourself out of the female perspective, put yourself in the male perspective, right? You will always be assured of paternity. You always know it's your kid. You will always know that. We don't have that luxury, right? At least historically, we never did. Only right now do we have that luxury.
Well,
and
it's
women, in fact, beat men up for asking to get a paternity test, even though they themselves have absolute knowledge, right?
Wouldn't it be more
and
of like,
it's like, so look at it from the perspective of the man for a second.
I actually have
like
a friend who's
moral
going
thing,
through that
though?
right now.
Like, wouldn't like I just to challenge it, like, it doesn't come down to like if you're like a slut, like or not, like if you're sleeping around and you wouldn't know versus you're only with that person and you're exclusive and you haven't been with someone since your last relationship. I mean, just in my personal, I guess, views are that it's just different, like that. I feel like.
But are you relaying those views to you personally? Because this has something to do with your own personal situation. Are you?
Maybe a little bit, but I think that like
isn't it interesting, right? It's like,
Right.
think of the question here though. Take yourself out, put yourself in the man's shoes. Instead, relays right back to me, my own personal situation. Then I'll relay it back to the man. It's like, forget all that. Just create a blank slate for a second, right? Tomorrow you wake up and you're a male, right? Let's look at it from men's perspectives now. If you sleep with a woman, how are you assured paternity? How are you assured that the child is yours? What would be the signs you would look for?
That would frustrate me.
yeah, it's hard to think about that.
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, super hard to think about, right?
Because as a woman, all I would say is like, oh, well, just don't sleep with a bunch of women.
Right,
Or don't-
exactly.
Just use a condom,
you would just say,
so, yeah.
well, don't sleep with a bunch of
Right.
women or a bunch of men, and then and then there's no
Yeah.
problem. And that's exactly what men say. They say the same thing. They're like, hey, just don't sleep with a bunch of men.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
What if it's like prior body count and then you're with somebody for an entire couple years or whatever, and then like you're the only person that you're.
I think that would
you've
depend
been
on the
with?
person.
Yeah.
Like just
Like at that point, do you think it still matters, or would it be down
I think
to?
I think it's still going to matter to a lot of men. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think that they're still going to look at. So I mean, when we evaluate other people, men especially, we tend to look at the total, not just looking at the sort of like individual things. It seems to me when I have these conversations with women, they look at more individual traits, right? Perhaps he's very tall, he's a good provider, perhaps there's an aggressiveness level they like, right? There's some sort of, they kind of move more towards intuition. Men aren't doing that. Looking at it like a fucking accountant, right? They take the total and they're like, well, she's hot, and she's this, and she's got a low body count, and blah, blah, blah. She checks all the boxes. All right, let's go. Right? That's literally how they view it. They view it a completely different way than women do. They're not really looking at it intuitively.
well, 'cause
Is it
men,
more of a logical or an analytical
Completely,
aspect?
of course, yes.
But
It's
can
literally
they-
an analysis. They're doing an analysis. And so what this whole manosphere space was, or the whole red pill space, it still is. The idea is just, if men are gonna make this analysis, how do we inform it? Like, how do we inform that analysis so they're making a good one?
well, the thing is, like, women are so we're so emotionally driven. Jesus.
That big fail on that one. That was a massive L.
That was incredible. Wow.
But anyway, go ahead.
We're emotionally driven creatures, so we don't. So a lot of the time we kind of forget to think about the logic because we're so so caught up in our
Yeah.
emotions.
But what about the man? Can the man be more emotional? Can he?
Well,
There
he
are
can,
and
but
there are
here's the thing.
circumstances where probably you expect him to be.
Biologically speaking, women are more emotional because we have estrogen, men have testosterone. So we're gonna be more emotionally inclined. We have the maternal instinct. So, I mean, I don't know.
But can a man look at it at a situation, for example, paternity tests, whatever? Can he look at it rather from an emotional standpoint than an analytical or logical?
We call those
standpoint?
men simps. So the thing is like, yes, a man can become overly emotional and he can let his little brain override his big brain, right?
But real men do math.
Some men do that, but the thing is, men now are trying to police it up, right? So they're like,
Police
you fucking simp, stop doing that. What are you doing, right? This is terrible for you. It's terrible for her. It's terrible for the world. Stop it, right? They're actually making a concerted effort to police that shit up. Women aren't really making. In fact, they're doing the opposite. They're like, you go, girl power, get your thing on, do whatever it is that you want to do. You know, there's no real effort there to police the behavior up. For men, there is one. There's a concerted effort to try to do that.
But why would you want to? Why can a man be more emotionally in tune with his emotions? Why do they have to be policed?
Well, I mean, so here's the thing. You like all of the modern luxuries that you have. You like your lighting, and you like your vehicles, and you like your roads, and you like all those things. I just want to let you know that there's men right now who are aggressively murdering people in their sleep to make sure that that all happens for you. Aggressively, right this second as we speak, some American soldier somewhere stabbing some dude in the throat. Promise you. Don't know where it is, but I promise you it's happening, right? He's not going to be very emotional about that. And you don't really want him to be very emotional about that. And women don't really want emotional men. They kind of pretend they do, right? They want to I think, at least this is my opinion, I think that they want the man that they really like to show some emotion to them. But they don't really like when the man that they have is showing a lot of emotion to other people. In other words, they don't want a bitch.
Okay.
That actually makes sense.
I disagree.
Your standpoint on that one.
I disagree.
We got a couple chats here. We have Techno Trooper. Thank you, man. Luce, I'll have you read these.
In the recent possible ban of TikTok, should OF be the next ban? Is OF fueling exploitation under the guise of empowerment?
Boy, that's
I like that question.
That's going to be a brutal one, Brian, to dive right into.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't want to linger too long on porn bad convo just because it's not super interesting. But who here is in favor of OnlyFans ban? Who here is in favor of a TikTok ban?
Loki, yeah, it's ruining my life.
Look at that moon, boys! Right over. Wait, can you guys see it? Full moon or almost?
We can't see it from any.
I prefer not to have a TikTok ban only because I like all my lunatics in one place.
I like TikTok.
Yeah.
They're gonna spread out.
TikTok's the same thing as Instagram.
Yeah, well,
Reels
the problem
and
is they're
Facebook
just going to go
Reels.
to
It's
another
same.
platform
Yeah.
and be just as insane on that platform. It's
Like
like, we
Vine.
know where all
Shorts,
the
it's all the
insane
same.
people are. Just leave them there.
They did that with Vine.
Yeah.
They did do that
May
with
she
Vine,
rest
you're
in
right.
peace.
OF girls, should it be banned? What do you think?
I mean, I think on
Yes.
social media, I think like if people want to do that, like, but on the kids are on these apps. Like, there's children that get promoted this at very young ages. So I think that TikTok is very catered to children, and you're lying if you're saying they're not having accounts that say 18 plus, and parents aren't able to monitor it. So I think that it's just to make it platform, like, you know what I mean? Like, just to an extent, like it's better to just take it off like social media so that kids are protected.
I 100% agree. I have seen a full chocolate starfish on my TikTok For You page. Did not
Oh,
want to see
God.
that.
What does that mean?
That's fucking disgusting.
But wait, why would that bother you? Like, don't you always see one of those?
Oh my god!
That was like the best possible way he could have responded to that.
The same reason it bothers her. I don't want children to scroll past that.
Oh, okay.
Because even if you do say, oh, I'm 18 plus, you just press a button. You could be 11 and say, oh, I'm 18 plus, and it's just their parents' account or whatever. The same thing happens with OnlyFans. There's no doubt in my mind that that happens with OnlyFans.
But isn't it the parents' like responsibility for monitoring
You
your child's
cannot
phone?
monitor that much. You cannot. You
But
literally
Kids
cannot.
just shouldn't have phones.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Monitor that.
If you can't monitor your child's like screens or whatever,
They
can't
shouldn't
you-
have
literally
screens.
could just come
They
up on
shouldn't
their
have
For You
screens.
page.
What happens
like,
if your
without-
child is 16 and runs away because you monitored their phone?
Yeah, exactly. My parents fucking monitored the shit out of my phone, and it made me a turbo slut for a year.
But
Like a
that's
form
the
of
thing.
revenge,
like,
right?
I've been in an environment in a sexual environment for a very long time, and I saw pornography when I was really young. So
Okay,
You think
sorry,
that was
sorry,
okay?
I'm
Like,
moving
I
that shit
don't-
on. Sorry, you just took
Sorry.
it to the wrong
One of the
place.
topics.
Can you read this?
Please. Why is it so difficult for these gals to accept that attraction triggers and reproductive strategies between men and women are asymmetrical? Our ontology/intrinsic hardwiring is vastly different.
It's true. That's true. The basis of the very being of what is woman. This is why, like, the rad turfs, you've seen the rad turfs, the trans-exclusionary radical feminists, like J.K. Rowling and those. The reason that they're so upset about the entire trans phenomenon is based on this particular argument. They're saying, what is a woman is... No, you can't just... You men can't just come in and take that from us because there's something that's special about it and unique about it. Right?
A woman is a human female person.
Yeah, I get it, but leaving that aside for a second, to the point of ontology or the like being or essence of a thing, right? When you're talking about what that is with a woman, it does seem like there is something to that.
Actually, I agree with that because I have seen that. I think they did some brain scans or something, and they show that people who, like, for example, there's a man and he identifies as a woman, or she identifies as a woman, whatever. They scan the brain, and he has the brain matter of a woman.
Yeah, all the
that
brain,
is more similar to a woman.
all the brain scan stuff is total bullshit.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I don't know.
But the thing is, when you're talking about ontologies, like, this is the philosophical diving into of what being is. So do women have a different being than men do? Yeah, I think they do. Well, I think there is a lot of distinctions between men and women. Well, that's why I brought up the brain scan. Yeah, but it's not just the idea of the biology itself, but the essence of the thing.
I think that's such an interesting topic to talk about because that could be true, but I think that there is a pretty large chunk of it that is societally based, and I think I almost wonder if we didn't raise boys and girls differently, if that sort of, because a lot of brain a lot of brain activity is pattern recognition. So I think that if people didn't grow up to think, oh, well, boys should be thinking this way and girls should be thinking this way, that there would be more similarities. I mean, of course, there are physical differences that are hard to beat. You can't change that sort of thing. Like, my muscle mass is nowhere near, but I do feel like there's got to be some sort of societal value to that as well.
Well, yeah. Think about
let's explore it for just a quick second. If this is true, if you think that there's so you're talking about nature versus nurture here.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is fine. We can dive into it. But if you're talking about the nurture part, you really don't have the upper hand in that conversation because where's all the female oil rig workers? Where's all the line workers? Hang on. Where are all of the female engineers who are working in applied engineering? They're nowhere. When offered the choice in the egalitarian nations like this one, they still move towards the same oppressive jobs they had pre-Enlightenment. So they're still teachers, right? Especially preschool teachers. They're still moving towards secretarial work. They're still moving towards that. Interestingly enough, that seems to actually give the case to me that, wait, there seem to be distinct differences that aren't just social. Because once there's no barrier to entry, you're still doing the same shit you were doing before the society changed radically in order to accommodate you.
I think that you can think that if you want to, but I do believe that there is some sort of block. You know, like that you might say that there's no barrier for women to enter those kind of fields, but
What's
there
the
is.
barrier?
Well, getting I guess there's.
What would stop you from going working on an oil rig tomorrow?
Well, I mean, I'm sure that some people do choose that if they want to live that kind of life where you're very isolated from other people. But I think that when you say that women aren't engineers, I think that that's just kind of
applied. I'm talking about applied.
Applied.
Yeah. So when you're talking about engineering, it's wide and it's encompassing.
Well, I don't know.
When you're talking about applied, I'm talking about you take your hands and you build shit.
I do think that there are a lot of women who maybe would be interested in joining the construction field and that sort of thing, where applied engineering.
What's the barrier?
I think that the barrier is that they're kind of pushed out of those roles. I think that
the government incentives are there for those roles.
No, there's no government, but it's the people who own the businesses aren't going to hire a girl. They're going to take one good look at me and think, well, you're not going to be useful to me.
Are they wrong?
I disagree. I think that if you work hard at something, you can be good at it.
Do you think that you're going to be as good as a man roofing?
I think so.
You think so?
Well, I mean, if I learn how to do it,
deadlift?
Can we do this?
1 million.
Hang on, can we do this? Can we do this then?
Yeah.
Right here on whatever. I'll put $1,000 down. I'll come in tomorrow.
Okay.
You can come in tomorrow, right? And we'll just have 2 little birdhouses, and we can roof them.
Okay, I'm so down. I'm so down. I'm gonna watch a YouTube tutorial. I'm gonna be so good. Wait, I can't.
Yeah, I know, but you're gonna have to use actual shingles on these roofs.
I'll bring my gloves.
Okay, but you got to bring $1,000.
Oh, I don't have. Wait. Oh, whoa. I thought this was your $1,000. I don't have $1,000. Wait.
This should be the easiest $1,000 you ever made. You should just bluff it.
Yeah, but do you know anything about roofing?
Yes.
So then that's immediately unfair because you already have
I
experience.
thought you just got done telling me that if you went.
I said if I apply.
I thought you just said if you went and applied as a roofer that you would be just as useful as the people who were there roofing.
If I had interest in roofing and if I had experience in roofing.
But you don't have any interest in roofing.
She could.
I'm just like.
You don't have any interest in roofing?
I mean, I am learning how to build houses right now, literally in school. So I would ideally have an interest.
You're learning.
Well, you're learning how to design houses in school.
No, but you learn the construction of it all as well. It's not just like the aesthetic parts of it. Architectural engineering is a real thing. I'm taking.
There's only
drafting
2.
classes.
Okay, so are you looking for when you're talking about architecture? You're looking for commercial, or are you looking for residential?
I'm primarily doing
residential. Perfect. There's only 2 colors of wire that go to a power. You know those little sockets in the wall? 2 colors.
That's electrical, though.
What are they? What are they? What are the 2 colors?
I don't know. I haven't gotten there yet. Dude, I just started. I'm not going to act like I know everything about architecture. I just started.
It's 2 colors. It's 2.
Is it blue and red? I'm just, that's you asked.
I was going to say black and white, but I have no idea.
I was gonna say red and yellow.
Right?
But I feel like we were talking about roofing 1 second ago. Now we're talking about electrical. That's different. You hire an electrical engineer to do.
But wait, you said you're an architect.
I haven't
Not
graduated
an architect yet, but you're studying it. You said a part of that is studying construction. Big part of construction is knowing basic electrical.
You leave space for the electrical work to be done. You have to know where it has to hook up.
Oh no, there isn't a construction
But you
worker
hire somebody
on
else.
planet Earth, not a construction worker on planet Earth that doesn't know basic electrical. Not one.
Probably basic. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not
That
there
what I
yet.
just said was basic.
But I'm not going to be a construction worker. I'm going to be an architect. So that's
Okay.
slightly different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not a construction worker.
No.
Yeah.
Did you get that where you wanted that to be?